So guys, he's Ankit. So basically, Ankit sir is from NID and he's already a rank holder. So you can just ask him for the tips and tricks regarding the studio test or something like that. So for that, you have to just open your camera first, no? So Janak, Sayan, Sarah, please, Savin, could you please turn on your camera? Thank you, Prince. Rest, please turn on your camera, guys. Princey, you can even ask him regarding the like masters as well. So Princey, if you do have any doubts or something like that, so you can ask from sir. Thank you so much, Ritik. Rest, please turn on your cameras, guys. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, thank you. And congratulations, everyone. So there are students from for BDES and MDES, right? You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir. They are from BDES
Yeah.
and MDES both.
Okay, cool. So like who are from MDES and people from BDES for BDES?
So guys, could you please just hand raise and tell sir about it? Like, you are from which department, from the BDES or MDES? At least raise a hand. So basically, I'll tell you, Prince, Ritik, Sarab, and Savin is from for BDES. Sadhana is also for BDES, I guess. Akshita is for MDES. And Dhriti, could you please tell me? Ekta is for BDES again. So basically, for the MDES, there is like Akshita and I guess Dhriti is there.
And all are for NID or right? Okay, cool. Yeah.
Thank you,
And
Savan.
so most are, I think it's like like 30-70 kind of ratio there. Great. So guys, I will start it with the kind of what questions you have first. I know it's a very tricky time right now. And when is exactly your studio tests and interview lined up? You guys have that already the information with you? Anyone? Okay, let's make it a very interactive one because I think like the studio test and the interview, when we have to prepare for it, as many as questions you have and you ask me or anyone who comes across for you, do that. It's actually more helpful in that regard, right? So like first of all, like right now, let's like anyone can represent everyone as well. And let me know what are your currently right now, there would be a lot of questions in your head. So what are main questions you have? Like I can go this for differently for BDES and differently for masters, right? So over to anyone.
Can I?
Yeah, go ahead.
So basically, like first question which came to my head is how to start your preparation for studio test. Like I have zero knowledge about it.
Right. Okay. And how many people have appeared for the exams before? Anyone over here? Or is it like the first time everyone is appearing? Okay, I will take it like it's first time everyone is appearing. Okay, then you guys must be like thinking what will happen over there, what happens over there. So I will give you a very quick overview, right? Let's and also I will like that is what framework that I have used for myself. I will try to share it, but it's only my perspective and NID at NID, everyone has their own thinking way and the perspective, right? And that's what unique about it. And everyone over there also shares where whatever actually they are sitting in a discussion or something, everyone brings some new things to the table. Right. So I will start it for the BDES and I will go to MDES as well. And it's very similar for both. That is what I believe. For MDes, it's little more extensive in terms of the interview, but for BDes, it's not that intensive. But yeah, they do care about that one at NID. Another colleges like NIFT, they don't take interviews for BDes over there. It's only the situation test which happens over there. But for NID, they take the studio test, as well as there are quick interviews also that happens for BDes. So and I highly actually suggest anyone to go for NID, and give your best actually, right? For design, it's one of the best according to me. It's actually the best according to me, what I should say. Even it's kind of the a mothership for design of India, right? So I have been through that college, and I know what exactly happens over there. And people enter that college, and then when they come out, they are something different, right? So let's start with a very quick overview, basically. And also very congratulations to all of you. You made it the first one, you have qualified this. It means you have been actually filtered out from a lot of students, right? So just consider you're one of the best in the country actually, right? And it's actually the truth, because a lot of people in India sit for exams, and if you make through it, then you are kind of 1% of those students, right? So be really confident when you are actually attempting your the studio test and interview, right? Keep this fact in your head and be that confident. See what happens in the studio test. A studio test is generally NID names it as a studio test. NIFT names it as situation test. Both are very similar. It's a hand-on things which you have to do. The first exam which you gave, you didn't have to go there and make any 3D model, use any material. You have to just draw on the paper, write the exam, right? That's the format they use. But in the studio test, what they will do, they will give you some materials, right? It may be a set of 9 to 10 materials. It can exceed that, but not more than that. They will not go beyond 10 materials. It's 10 materials is actually also too much. What materials they would give, like paper, straw, uh, different like toothpicks. Some it would be very soft materials. They can give you hard materials, like the very thin wires we have, right? Not the thicker one, the thin one, which can be bended very easily, and we use that to make many models as well, right? It's we can just with the help of our fingers we can mold it. So I'm just giving a like trying to make you visualize what are the materials they will be giving you. What is the format? So let's say as a candidate, you go over there. So they will hand you these materials. They will hand you a question sheet as well, right? A paper, and instructions would be written in that okay, these are few questions you have to attempt, and it would be written like for an example, there would be in one question there would be four options that would be given to you. Let's say that you need to make a model of the universe, right? You need to, or you can make a model of a cup, or you can make a model of a very innovative headgear, which is like a headgear means like a headphone, or uh, like a hearing aid, something like this, right? So let's say they give you four options out of that, and you can attempt any one of those, or read the instructions very, very carefully over that. It keeps changing, like, right? It depends on the instructions, what is written over there. Out of that four, I'm just giving you one example. It can be different, right? So out of four, you need to just make one. So let's say I am very, very, I can imagine about or make a model of the universe really well, right? So I will choose one to make the universe. And they would also have given marbles to you as a material, right? Or a soft clay over there. And uh, like uh, some materials would be put there in such a way that you can actually make that model out of that, and it would actually look like a universe, right? Universe will have different Milky Ways and like galaxies, what we say, right? Milky Way is where we live. Then there would be some circular elements they would give. Circular elements, what I mean, the wire I told you, right? You can make it a spiral out of that. So you can use these patterns to just show how you are creating a model of a small universe, a part of the universe, right? Let's take another example that some of you who is very interested in product design. So you will choose to make the hearing aid, right? But same material will be there. So how you are utilizing the material to make that, right? Also, when they will have given you the paper, you can actually draw your exactly like how we did in the first paper, right? Prelims. You can draw it, you can write your annotations, write that, make your ideas, right? Make one or two iterations. What I mean by that is that you can make one option first, like for an example, for the hearing aid you make one hearing aid, but you're not happy with that, right? You want to improve it and make another option, so you do that on that paper that they have given you. Don't try to color much these things because it will take a lot of time. The main focus is on the model, right? But they will look into that what you have thought about that one, right? How you are trying to think that. Uh, Basically, a studio test can also be split into part, right? And we need to be very sure about it that and be very uh, like aware about the time that they will be giving it to you, right? Let's say now I will give you another question, way of question, the pattern of the question. They will split the studio test in two part. One part is that you have to draw the product very well on the paper. This is part one of the paper, and then you have to make that the one thing which you have drawn on the paper, you have to actually make it as a product as well. So you see it's a two part, right? I am not very aware what is the time. I believe it's 3 hours for the studio test, 2.5 or 3 hours, something like that. It keeps changing. Do read the instructions very well before going there. They will share all those instructions. Uh, so in 3 hours, you should not use more than like 45 minutes or 1 hours if it is 3 hours or timeline to work on the first part, right? And then you can utilize the rest of the time, that is 2 hours, on making the model, because model making takes a little time. Now, as uh, like you one of you told me that you don't know exactly what happens over there and how you need to practice it. Believe me, practicing for the studio test takes a lot of time. And one more question, like today is 22nd February. When is the studio test scheduled? I believe it's 1 month of time after the result comes out of the prelims. What is the expected date, or is the date announced already for BDES? I know for MDES, for few people who are attempting it for the Gandhinagar, it's 1st March something. So you have like 8 or 9 days only left. For BDES, what it is? Sweta ma'am, you have any idea on that?
Yes, I'm there.
You have any idea that when is the studio test of the NID for BDES?
नॉट येट सर एक्चुअली इनका ना मतलब ये आने वाला है रिजल्ट सो मोस्टली सून.
Okay, I got it then. See, as per my experience, it is generally a time frame of 1 month, right? And that 1 month is very crucial. And for MDES, I know it's a very short time. And actually, the time which we have in hand right now as well for the MDES, it's very adequate. Don't think that you won't be able to do it. Like most of the people do it in this timeline, so don't worry. You just need to be like giving, I believe, 8 to 10 hours a day, and that's the reality, that's the truth. I will come to MDES later, but for people who don't know what happens exactly in a studio test and how you need to practice for that, I will tell you that as well, and how Ignite can also help you. It's actually, uh, as per my experience, you must take help of experts for the studio test. First paper, myself had not prepared for first paper with any coaching institute, but for my situation test in NIFT, I did prepare, and it did really help me, so that how I was able to qualify it, because there are a lot of nuances you need to know, and they will also judge you on how sharp you have made the model, right? If you cut a paper, it should be so sharp that it should not be identifiable that if a machine has cut it or you have cut it as a human, right? So they go to that extent. Uh, so just coming back to the studio test of BDES, this is what happens in that 2.5 hours to 3 hours. Taking the timeline in the consideration, I will strongly suggest you that you should start the preparation like ASAP is kind of by tomorrow. Take a rest for today, but you should start it by tomorrow kind of thing.
So I just need to ask one thing, like some students want to some students are willing to just know about their domain specific also, like Akshita is for the game design background, if I guess. So Akshita, are you there? So could you please ask him, like, sir, what are the requirements of yours, even though Princey, all these students have their domain specific in queries as well. So could you please elaborate that also?
I will do that. Yeah,
Thank you so much.
it's Akshita, and another is for the department, which is another one. One
Is
is
Princey. I'll maybe there is some network issue, so I'll just connect once over the call and then I'll tell you.
sure, sure, sure. Yeah, that is very important for MDes, in which discipline you have applied, and the questions are exactly very discipline specific. For BDES in studio test is not that specific, but yeah, the like you have to actually be on your toes for 1 month and do the practice. So I will come back to MDES. I will cover that part, right? But I will first cover the for the BDES. Uh, where I was that basically how you should practice about doing the studio test, right? See how I had done that. When for me the result came for NIFT, I exactly, like one of you said, that I don't know what exactly happens in the studio test, right? I was in same position at that point of time, and it was one of the best decisions that I went with the for the help of the experts who had already done it. uh, I was not aware at all how to cut up what happens in a studio test. I was not aware, right? And when you do some 1 or 2 papers at with the help of the experts, you will be able to figure out, okay, this is what exactly the format of the exam, right? They will ask you to make 3D models over there. That's the one liner which I should say when if you have a question to ask for that, what happens in a studio test, right? They will ask you to make models out of paper. The materials which I described earlier, they will ask you to do in that one, right? And similar and same materials would be given to every BDES students for an ID, right? They will call you to their center and you have to do that over there. And for BDES in NID, I also mentioned that they will be having an interview, which is a very quick interview that they do. Okay, right. You are selected for 2 domains. That's more better, right? I had also applied for 2 domains. I qualified for both domains. I believe you will also qualify for that. So for BDES, again coming back, if you don't know or haven't attempted that, you should start preparing that from tomorrow. That is one of the most strongest recommendation I will give you. It will help, the experts will actually help you to give some dummy papers. What exactly happens in examination, they will give you that one. And like I will tell you from my experience how exactly I did it and what were my learnings, right? And how I also qualified for the examination. So I joined one of the experts in Patna actually at that point of time, and I was not knowing what is paper cutter, how do we use a scale, how do we use a like a knife to cut a paper, and what we need to make out of these materials. I didn't know. I reached the campus. Campus means the experts, the people who were teaching me. I reached over there, and then they handed me a paper like this, that okay, this is the question, draw it. I did that. And then like now they said that you have to make it a 3D model. Now it's a complex thing, right? How do I turn this 2D drawing which I have made into a 3D, right? And now, if you fold a paper and you turn it something a little bit, it becomes a 3D shape. But if you just do it with your hands, it won't have a very sharp crease, right? So it will look really blunt kind of thing, not a sharp model which you would be able to make it. So how we can do a half cut? We just turn our knives and we give a sharp cut over there, and it doesn't tear the paper, but it gives a lining over there to which you can fold it. These are some learnings you will get over there. So what I did in my test was that they had asked a question about awareness about a traffic, that how can you make a model that makes people aware about traffic safety and security, right? So I made a kind of a footwear, the chappal, which we call in Hindi, and the that slipper was basically the relaxo slippers that we have been seeing for a long time, right? The washroom chappal, that what we say. I made that as a analogy that this is what guides us when we are walking, and the part through which we lock our legs inside the slippers, the thumb and the another like the another finger of the, I don't know what is the exact word for the fingers of the legs, but we just slip it there, right? And we lock it and then we walk, right? So the exactly that point where we lock it, I made a traffic light over there, right? So it became an analogy that, okay, you should walk very carefully on the road wearing the slippers kind of thing, right? So it was a uses like how analogy means, basically I will tell you how it was an analogy. Analogy means what is the meaning of that one is that from the real life, how actually you are relating things that basically some things come and club together and still it is representing a real life scenario, right, as a message. So how that 3D model was doing that was what I made. So technically, if you break that model making, you have to make a slipper first. How do you make the shape of that one, right? You can imagine and make the shape of a slipper on the paper, and then you can cut thermocol, which they had given at that point of time. Now I believe they are not using thermocol, but you can get that material as well. So they had given that thermocol. So like I was not really good at with proportions at that point of time. So I put my legs on the thermocol, drew it, and then cut it. It was a very smart move, right? I didn't need to uh, go and imagine and draw the proportion of that one, right? And literally the people who were sitting beside me, I just stepped out of my chair exactly uh, where I was giving my examination. I put the thermocol on the ground and put my legs, I drew it, right? So everyone was looking, what is this guy doing, kind of thing. So, but don't hesitate doing all those things. Just don't make another people who are sitting aside of you, don't disturb them, right? Do your task. And then I also used paper, and let's suppose that I had made a silhouette out of thermocol, then I made a silhouette out of paper as well, and I pasted on top of that. So beautiful color of the paper comes on that slipper, right? And then I also made that the things which comes out of the slipper, I made it out of paper and all. I exactly right now don't remember what were the materials at that point of time, but this is how I was taking the approach. Also, when I was cutting the papers, I can basically I had practiced that, and I don't know, everyone is good with some material, right? I am really good with paper. If you give me paper, I will cut it so sharp that no one can do that sharp cutting like that one. That is what I realized during my preparation of the situation test. So in this 1 month, I will just complete this story. Basically, I had cut the paper so sharp and pasted it really well. So let's say if this is a mouse, right, and if I'm making it a model, so you see when you will have a paper from here, and when you have folded it up, right, how sharp can you fold this paper, right? So that also depends. And when you fold it, then how will it take the exact shape of this one? So you have to just imagine this is a paper, so you have to give some cuts over here, right? So because it's not a flat surface, right? It's like a little bit of a curve which is coming over here. So how do you manage it? So this is one surface of paper, right? Yeah, I hope you are getting that. uh, let's say there is a paper which is going here, right? So when you give small cuts on that paper, you will be easily able to rotate, turn it and paste it, right? It will take the shape, right? So these things, these nuances, you will be able to learn only when you will be practicing about that one, right? And believe me, that helps. You must start practicing it at home or wherever you want to do that, or whatever facilities being available through Ignite India as well. Right. So these are some nuances that will come. Now you will also be carrying Fevicol. Fevicol is a very messy object. If you just touch your paper with your dirty hands, it will spoil the paper, right? There will be marks which will be on the paper, and they will cut marks for that one. So you should learn how to handle, how to paste through the Fevicol so that it is very clear. There is no spoils which are coming out of your paper. Your model looks really clean. So you see, I am covering each like portions of the model making one by one. How you fold it is one thing to learn. How you give it a curve is one thing to learn. If you have to make a cylindrical model, what approach should you take it, right? How you will do it through the help of the paper is a flat material. If you are making it circular or cylindrical, it's very difficult to do that. And how do you attach a paper which is very thin? I will just take this like this bottle, and let's say this is a paper, right? You have made it a cylinder, but how do you make the bottom part of this one so that also it is very clearly stick to each other? There is no any uh, like it's very clear and precise and sharp. How do you do that, right? These are some tricks which you will be learning, and do practice for that, because these basic shapes are very important, like a cylinder or a cube, making a rectangular cuboid, right? Making a flat kind of cuboid like a mobile, right? If I give you a paper and I tell you that, can you make me like a package which in which this mobile goes in, how will you be able to do it? How do you do the surface development, right? So these all are areas of those studio test things, right? If I count it on the finger tips, one is how to handle material, how to cut a paper, how to give it different shapes, how to make a cuboid, how to make a cylinder, right? How to paste it with a Fevicol, how to use a knife cutter with the help of the scale or without scale to achieve the shapes that you want to do that. So these are some things you need to learn, and it doesn't take more than 15 or 20 days if you give like 7 to 8 hours every day. That is how I was doing. I was doing it like I used to go to the people who were expert, and they were helping me. I used to go in the morning at like 9, and I used to come back at 6. I was just the whole day doing that one. I loved cutting paper, making models and all. Just dedicate yourself over there, right? I was doing it so badly that now I realized that I had actually developed a little bit of a back problem, back pain, because I was sitting like 8 hours cutting papers, pasting it, making different models. In one day I was making 2 3 models. I was learning how to make basic shapes like cuboid and all those things, because see, when you learn the basic shapes, they act as small bricks to make the models, right? So they are very important. You should know how to make cylinder, how to make cuboid, how to make cube and all those things, right? They're very basic, but little the surface development is little difficult for that one, right? You must practice that. And then let's say you stick 5 or 6 cuboids to each other or cubes to each other. They can take different shapes. They take very different interesting shapes, which are called tessellations, which you will learn later. Don't worry about that one. But how you will utilize these shapes in your studio test as well. Now, going back to the example that I talked, how do you make a universe, model of universe? right? Let's say many of you would have seen Ben 10, right? And their alien X is there, right? When you see that how they have shown the alien X, they would be showing some cubes as well, very black color cube, right? What if I make a black cube very quickly with a white paper, make a cube, color it black, and then I somehow use the metal wires to like make stand it through the um, bottom, stick it and stand it in such a like creative way that it looks like it's a flying cube in the universe, right? So it's how I'm visualizing right now. You can visualize it in many ways, right? If you have seen mangas and all in which they show the universe, you can take that as inspiration, make your own universe. I would make it as a like a Ben 10. I had been fan in my childhood, so that scene comes in my head as a universe, right? And those cartoon references do really help you because those shapes are very achievable, very quickly achievable. Like making a cube would not take more than 2 or 3 minutes, right? When you know the surface development, you just draw the surface on the paper, you cut it, and you just assemble it, right? So these are some nuances on a studio test. I strongly recommend, like right now, I can tell you on my fingertips because we have been doing it for many years. And that was the starting point for me, where I learned those basic shapes, making all these basic 3D models and all. I think this is one module which Ignite India would really help you over there. And like doing it through the help of the experts, it basically gives you a framework, easy framework how you do that, right? So that's about a studio test, right? It's a 3 hour task. And then also for BDES, they will tell you to show some portfolio, and then interview would also happen. For BDES, they don't really care that you are bringing what type of projects you are bringing. They're really interested in knowing what type of person you are. So when you present your portfolio, which is hand drawn or handmade, let's say uh, you like drawing on paper, so you would have a lot of drawings. So choose best of those. And some people also like making origami and all those origami and all those things, right? Take it, show it to them, right? Make a portfolio out of it. Make a flippable portfolio like a book, right? Like do that binding and all those things. Make it very presentable, and you take there over there. And also for the interview, it's another nuance that we will cover later. But this is how you should go about the studio test. Just start preparing, start doing the basic shapes, start learning how to stick papers to each other, how to use different materials, how different materials like paper and straw, how we can use it, combine it and use it, right? If there are small metals or maybe magnet they are giving, how do you use that? So it's a lot of permutation and combination which you can do through different materials, right? So that's about a studio test for the BDES. It happens similarly for the MDES as well. I will very quickly cover over there about the studio test and the interview and the portfolio, right? So before that for BDES, let me know if you guys have any another questions, which I might not have covered it. If you feel that, please shoot your questions. Okay, do we have something in chat? Two domains, which is lifestyle accessory and interior and furniture design. I'm not from design background. I don't have portfolio, but I'm working on that. Would it impact a lot for MDES? No, it doesn't. Don't worry. We have seen microbiologists joining our batch, so they didn't have a portfolio. You can imagine what will you show when you're coming from a microbiology, right? But yeah, always people who want to join an ID and design field, they I don't know which brain it is, right or left. The creative brain is always functional for those people, right? It functions more. You make your portfolio on you, like there are different ways to make your portfolio, right? If I'm a UX designer, I will have a digital portfolio. If I am a person who loves drawing, my portfolio will look very different. If I'm a person who who likes doing hands-on crafts, like texture making on different things, right? My portfolio will look very different. I believe you would be having some interest in some field of these things. I just mentioned two or three. People do a lot of things over there. You might be really good at doing sketches on your iPad or on a screen. That's another level of portfolio. I will come back to that question. Yeah, that's a good question. But how many pages should a portfolio have? It depends. If you are showing a UX portfolio, UX is user experience portfolio. I suggest like one project should not have more than 6 to 7 page. You should show two or three is the max, but keep two at least projects. I am telling you, right? Make your portfolio the best works out of your life, not more than, I am just saying, not more than 20 pages and not less than like 7 or 8 pages, right? So that's what it goes like. It depends on what thing you are presenting. The page number which will also come from that one. Any questions from BDES? I will quickly cover MDES after this one. No questions? Okay. So I will shift to MDES, very quick one. For MDES, what really matters, just going back to BDES, what really matters over there is interview as well, how you present yourself, how confident you are, what is the portfolio you are presenting. If you have portfolio like drawings or hands-on crafts, origami, another different things, you should be able to present it very, very confidently. It's another level of expertise which goes over there. One main trick over is there, you can be wrong, but you need to be very confident because it's still, we are learning, right? We all are learning. We can be wrong, but we give our best. And that's what shows that we have a learning attitude, right? That's what for the BDES goes over there. And coming to MDES, see, MDES, everything majorly depends on your interview, majorly. Why I'm saying that? Because some people might, if they have worked in the industry for 5 years, let's say as a designer, someone has already worked in the industry for 5 years, they will have a lot of portfolio. They will have a lot of work from the industry. Another side, there is a person who doesn't come from a design background, who haven't done a hands-on industry practice. They will have not much on their hand. Don't think that the person who has a 5 year of experience will get selected. It's very wrong. It's your interview which decides that you will be selected or not. A person can have a good portfolio, yet they won't be selected. A person who might have very less, like 7 to 8 pages of portfolio, they can also get selected. It's at high chance that they will get selected. So I will come to the nuances of MDES very quickly. See, they will have a studio test, which they call on their centers and they take it. Then they will have interview as well. Now the interview is happening offline, which is that you have to go to the campus and do that. For a studio test, exactly same things what I told you in the for the BDES, exactly same thing is applicable. It happens exactly same way. It can be either a two split of the paper or it can be one paper itself. It is generally a 3 hours paper. For the portfolio, see, going back to, so I remember there is digital game design, a DGD, very interesting discipline where almost all the people who come over there are really the gamers of India, basically. They do keep playing games. And I was at Bangalore Center, so I have seen them very closely. Just my neighbor department was digital game design. They used to create games and we used to test it, go there, play with them, what they have created and all. The questions will be like based on specifically about the game design. They will ask you to make a level game design. They can ask you to make a flat kind of game design. They can ask you to draw characters in that one and maybe make a 3D model of a part of that character. That can be one thing. They can ask you to do the studio test as make a character, right? Not just a part, but make a character. They can give you to make a scene of the of a game, a small scene of a game, right? Or it can be a board game. They can give you materials to make a board game out of all those materials. How you are utilizing those materials to make a board game, right? It can be games for children. It can be games for maybe very older adults, which is like above 60. Let's say they will give you a scenario that they have retired, right? And they have a lot of time. So these are the materials. Can you make a very interesting game for them? That is what a studio test comprise. Similarly, for the accessory design, they can ask you to make some products. They can ask you to make some jewelries and different type of products that come over there, right? So in the studio test, that can happen. We need to look into a few demo questions and practice on our own for that as well. Uh, as I told you, the portfolio, don't be afraid that you are not a designer like before this and you don't have portfolio. Whatever you have been doing, if you have applied for accessory, I believe if you have applied for that, it means you have really interest in few part of that one, right? Accessory design, lifestyle accessory design, encompasses a lot of things. It can be a product design, it can be jewelry design, it can be uh, different type of products which encompasses the field, right? You might be interested in jewelry design, and if you have portfolio for the jewelry design, make a portfolio out of it. If you can't carry the products, click a photo, make it in your portfolio. If you can carry it, it would be really, really great because they love seeing these physical products from these departments. They love like taking it in their hands and feel it and then assess you, right? For interior and furniture design, similarly, they can for furniture design they might ask you to make a chair which is inspired by Bauhaus or like a favorite chair of kind of this thing, right? Preparing for MDes interiors for design. So in the studio test, which type of questions they will ask? Making model is related to furniture only. See, for the interior space, we will connect you to few people from there as well. We will try to do that. But what I believe that the studio test furniture, obviously they can give you a chair or something. For interior design, they can give you to basically make a texture that would go on a wall. How do you make that on a small sample, right? How do you make the texture, right? And why are you making such texture? They might go into color theory as well, that they would give you 4 or 5 colors and they will tell you to like uh, make a part of a home where these colors can be combined in a really well way. It means what they can say is that for your living room, use these 5 colors, make a texture out of it, which has to be used on a wall which might contain a bookshelf or which might contain a television which is kept up. That I'm just giving a few examples over there, right? Interior design actually contains things which are beyond these as well. So they can ask these similar questions. We will prepare few questions for um, interior and space design, and the people who are working over there who have done their MDes from there. We will get exactly what they are doing, but this is what I believe that they ask. Furniture design is simple, like they can ask you to make table or chair. It's just one simple thing I am telling you. They love making chairs, right? So they might give you like how I told you. They might ask you to design a chair which is inspired by Bauhaus, the S chair, right? How do you make your own version? And we did that in NID as well. In my department, we had made a furniture out of S chair, our own version, right? How do you make a miniature chair or different furnitures like that, right? So we will try to give you these demo question papers from the people who have already qualified from there, right? But the questions might be on these line only. Don't worry about that, right? Okay, so see, the portfolio making happens two way. This is for everyone for the MDes. Let's say uh, you might be thinking, I know what is going in your head is that if I am applying for accessory design, should I show the portfolio which is just accessory design? That if you have designed some jewelry in your lifetime, you want to show that. That can be one part of your portfolio. Portfolio basically, it doesn't contain exactly the projects which you are aligning with your department. Do align that first. It means, what I mean by that is that if you're going for accessory design, put one, if you have designed one jewelry, first thing in the portfolio should be jewelry, right? If you have designed, let's say, if you have been working in the industry, or if you have designed on your own, let's say you have designed a mouse which comes as a design, accessory design or product design. These things should be kept first in your portfolio, right? And then let's say that apart from accessory design, if you also love sketching and you have done that, you should also put the best work of that one towards the later side of your portfolio, right? They want to see holistically that what are the things which you like as a human being, what are your stronger points. This is what they assess from the portfolio, right? I personally made my portfolio for universal design, which was digital, which is contrary to that department. What I mean by that, universal design loves doing hands-on things, that is physical products. I had presented a UX portfolio over there that is totally digital, right? But I got selected in that one. It was not that I was I had made up my portfolio, but I had shown that who I am as a human being, what I love doing, and what do I bring to this department when I join here, right? Uh, Again, if I join universal design where everything is done physical products, I coming from a digital background, what are the new things I can add to that department, right? This is a very interesting thing at NID. They want to make the classroom so diversified that everyone learns something from each other. So we had a uh, uh, classmate who was a microbiologist, and like when we used to discuss that, okay, we are making this product and there will be some microorganisms which will be developing around this, that what should happen, will it, how will it impact the human being. Now her expertise used to come over there. You see, in a design college where there are engineers, designers, microbiologists, mathematicians, economists who are coming, there was a student who was from DU. She had done from her bachelor's in economics. What was she doing at NID, right? But when we had to do a budgeting of some things, she was the person who was taking the lead, and we used to just hear to her what she says. We learned and how it is also impacting the design. Bring your main strength, that how you will be helping another students and how you will be learning from another student. This is the main crux of an ID. They will just drop you in a classroom where 15 people, 19 people are coming from 19 different backgrounds. Now you design a product. You have 19 head which are there from different backgrounds. Now you see, this your portfolio should be like you, it should also show you that as a human being you have 4 or 5 things which you like, you love doing it, and this is my portfolio. See this, right? It can be one paper portfolio like a jewelry design, or it can be a 6 to 7 page of one project, right? One project means I have done my research, then did this, blah blah blah, and then I drew this, I designed this uh, jewelry. This is my process. So this is one project, right? I didn't follow any design process at that point of time. Still, I drew this jewelry. This is one page of my portfolio. It can be one page as well. It can be a 6 page as well. You can describe your jewelry with the help of 6 page, or you can show it in one page only, right? And this is the way you should go. What is on your hand right now, you will be making the portfolio in that way, right? Everyone's portfolio is different, but what work you have with you, you should use that, and with your strength, right? How I told you that how I bought my strength at NID in universal design, right? Everyone was loving physical products. I was a person who was sitting with a digital experience, right? How do I show this product when it is going on a website? If it has to be a Let's say in a museum, we are just displaying that product. And let's say we are displaying it in a futuristic museum. How would my digital capabilities bring in the like value, right? And they love knowing about this thing about you. What is that unique thing that you will bring in the classroom, right? Keep this in mind while interview as well, and make your portfolio also. This is the crux of portfolio making. You just note it. You have to show your strength and what you bring to NID and the classroom when you are sitting with those 19 students. That's what your portfolio should talk about. That's what your interview should talk about, right? Okay, so going to the next part, what should I practice more for NID studio test? BDS now, or any YouTube channel can you suggest for practice? See, I right now I'm not very connected with the YouTube, especially in training of these modules, because it has for me it's a long time I have referred to those YouTube videos, because basically now I can make my own models and all. I just now I am kind of well equipped that I can visualize things and all those things. Uh, See, on that part, I will leave to Sweta ma'am how you can handle these things, and to the management of the Ignite over there. But what main thing which is over is there that you should practice by yourself in making those models. This is what I will answer you to this question. Sweta ma'am, please take note of this one, how we will be helping the students.
Yeah,
But
definitely.
do practice that, right? Yeah. Okay, I think I have covered for BDES and MDES the technicality over there. For both of this BDES and MDES.
Hello, Ankit sir.
Yeah.
Can you please wrap up the session? I mean,
Yeah,
there is
yeah, yeah.
another session.
Sure. I'm almost done.
Okay, good.
Yeah, right.
Thank you.
I think I covered everything almost. How should you approach for this one? How should you approach for a studio test for your portfolio and for your interview, right? Just take those things in consideration. Ignite India is always there to help you with the experts which we have. And yeah, all the best, everyone. Go and do your best, give your best. That's what I will say. Right. Yeah. Any last questions we have? Okay, and I will take this that. Okay. Right.
Thank you so much, sir, for your
Yeah.
fruitful session. So definitely, Akshata, Krutika, we do have another session with sir tomorrow. So you can just join the session tomorrow as well for the for the more insights about it. Okay, guys. Thank you so much,
Yeah.
Ankit sir, for your time.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Give your best. Yeah. See you. Bye bye.